The fate of our public lands and our rights are in jeopardy right now. We're losing pieces and pieces every day. This is what many of us have faced for years now. The loss of this access means a lot to me and everybody else. If you look up all that gorgeous land up there, that's your land. Everybody in the United States, you own that. And it doesn't make any sense to me to give this up.
There are more than 600 million acres of public lands across America, from iconic national parks to forests, grasslands, and seashores. But what happens when some of the wealthiest and most powerful people in the world decide they want those lands all to themselves?
Exclusive enclaves like the Yellowstone Club, studded with 8-figure residences, are proliferating.
This is the Yellowstone Club gate right here.
To find out, I went in search of a secluded mountaintop retreat for celebrities,
Yellowstone Club, it's a place I haven't come for a long time.
tech titans,
Hey Meta, look and tell me what mountain this is and how high its peak is.
and even high-ranking members of the Trump administration.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance reportedly flew into the Bozeman airport.
An unnamed VIP was taking a trip to the Yellowstone Club in Big Sky.
The Yellowstone Club, they're gobbling off mass swaths of Montana. I mean, this is the conglomeration of some of the wealthiest individuals on Earth. They will throw money around at anybody and everybody to get what they want.
You see, all across the country, the mega-rich are seeking to acquire public lands. And recently, they found a willing partner in the Trump administration.
We have so much land and we want to put it to use.
The Trump administration is rolling back decades-old protections for nearly 60 million acres of national forest.
The Trump administration has finalized plans to open Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to oil and gas drilling.
Our federal lands are an incredible asset on America's balance sheet.
The administration has unleashed what critics are calling an unprecedented shift in policies that puts nearly 90 million acres of public lands at risk of some kind of development.
All of these things that have already happened that we've seen in the Trump administration, it's all about development. And if you've taken a ride to the Big Sky or the Yellowstone Club lately, you've seen what development looks like, and it's a bunch of mansions.
Montana has become a rich man's playground, period.
These were our public lands, and it's starting to be gobbled up. It's really the end of Montana.
This whole process is rotten. The very people charged with protecting the public interests instead protected the moneyed interests.
And at the heart of it all is a remote mountain range known as the Crazies.
What's going on in the Crazies is simply plucking land from every United States citizen and handing it over to a small group of them on the basis of their wealth and their political influence.
This story is huge. The corruption that's involved needs to come out. Over there will be where my grandparents' ranch house was, right over here.
Brad Wilson is a fifth-generation Montanan whose family has called the Crazy Mountains home for nearly 2 centuries.
My family goes clear back to the 1860s. A lot of these pictures up here are my family, my grandparents, my mom and dad, and of course me back when I was a young guy with a lot of hair.
He lives in the small town of Wilsall, located at the foot of the range he loves.
The Crazy Mountains are just so magnificent. I grew up with a pack on my back hiking those mountains, and both of my sons grew up in the Crazy Mountains. And I cannot tell you how special they are to me, because I get choked up sometimes.
Brad took me to the hunting camp in the Crazies that he's been using for years.
Home away from home. I've been coming into this camp area right here for about the last 10 years.
What goes through your mind when you're out here?
Just the quiet, the tranquility of it, just the peacefulness. And I always think about, we all own this. You and I own this. This is ours.
But the way things have been going in the Crazies, Brad fears his days on public lands here are numbered.
Someday this will be all gone.
To explain, he brought me to a nearby trailhead.
And this is where everything in the Crazy Mountains began. From this point forward, it just got heated up and it was going 100 miles an hour.
You see, for decades, large landowners in the Crazies have been blocking access to historic public trails that run through their land.
They put these gates and these signs up, no trespassing, stay out. And all of a sudden I'm like, no, you can't do that. That's ridiculous.
So Brad decided to start fighting for public access in the Crazies. But he had no idea it would put him against some of the most powerful people in the country.
How do you fight that kind of money? As you see, I'm just a simple person here, a working man, like most of us.
But wait, before we get to all that, there's something you need to understand about how land ownership works in the Crazies. You see, back in the 1800s, the US government decided to give away public lands across the West to railroad companies as payment for building the Transcontinental Railroad. But to prevent the railroads from getting too much power, the government gave them land on an every other square mile basis.
You had squares that were dark green, which is Forest Service ownership, or they were white, which is private ownership. And you do this over a wide enough area and you end up with a checkerboard of ownership.
And the thing is, that checkerboard pattern established lines of contention that persist to this day.
The single biggest issue is that when the federal government awarded ownership of those sections to the railroad, it did so with conditions. They included the condition that whatever public road and or trail was in place at the time of the transfer of ownership, that were to remain in place. So if there was a public road that crossed over one of these pieces of land, the public was entitled to continue to use that road. And then the railroad started selling off those parcels to private citizens.
And over time, some of the richest people in the state began to buy up those parcels, and some of them didn't take kindly to the public crossing through their land.
And so they began to do things that violated those rules, such as blocking these roads, blocking these trails.
What followed were years of contentious disputes in the Crazies between large landowners and the public. Things really started heating up in 2017 when some of the large landowners enlisted high-powered allies like Montana Senator Steve Daines and then Trump Secretary of Agriculture Sonny Perdue to do something about a Forest Service ranger who'd been defending public access to historic trails. And it wasn't long before the ranger was investigated and reassigned.
The political forces of the country came down on this district ranger and they put him in his place.
Eric Nyland was a staffer for former Democratic Montana Senator John Tester at the time and worked closely with Forest Service officials overseeing the Crazies.
He was never allowed to come back and deal with this complex land situation, which is pretty telling. You know, that does not happen without top-level political interference.
Now, few people wanted to talk about what actually happened here. The ranger, the large landowners, Senator Daines, Secretary Perdue, the U.S. Forest Service, they all either declined my interview requests or never responded. But former Forest Supervisor Mary Erickson, however, did agree to speak with me. She was the ranger's boss at the time, and she said there wasn't any political interference going on.
Getting a letter from a congressional office in your career is not a unique thing. That's not political influence, right? Like, I've been investigated before, right? It kind of comes with the territory.
Were you reassigned?
Well, Alex wasn't reassigned. In our system, he was never taken out of the ranger job, right? He was just assigned to something else while the investigation was in place to kind of create some, like...
Assigned to something else sounds like reassigned, right?
There's no place in personnel decisions for partisan politics. And the agency denied that there were, but it was crystal clear to anybody and everybody that that's exactly what had happened.
But Montana's elites were just getting started in the Crazies, because not long after the controversy with the ranger, locals started hearing about a land exchange in the works that would ultimately change the range forever.
Early 2017, a gentleman came to Montana. He started talking about an unnamed client that wanted to trade some land, was very interested in the Crazy Mountains. It wasn't for a couple years later that he disclosed his client. That was the Yellowstone Club.
The Yellowstone Club is a private resort in Big Sky backed by billionaires and celebrities with a long history of land swap.
Advertised as the only private ski resort in the world, the Yellowstone Club is a secluded mountaintop retreat for the mega rich, located more than 100 miles from the Crazies in Big Sky, Montana. So I just pulled into Big Sky, Montana. This is one of the wealthiest parts of the state, and it's also home to the Yellowstone Club, which is the largest concentration of billionaires anywhere outside of New York City. The club was built atop what was once public land, and it's converted that land into one of the most private, exclusive places on the planet.
Well, the Yellowstone Club's reputation is one of incredible wealth.
I mean, these people are far from your neighbor. These folks don't care about your cattle or who you are, your water rights. They want to make sure their golf course is green, and they got the money to win.
Members have included celebrities like Tom Brady
it broke in half.
and Paris Hilton, as well as tech giants like Bill Gates, former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, and Mark Zuckerberg. And along with financial elites like Bill Ackman and Warren Buffett, the club has also become a magnet for those who made their fortunes on fossil fuels.
So I'm a tired old conventional energy guy who's made a pretty good living.
Take David Lucian, a billionaire and former head of the Goldman Sachs energy portfolio, who now runs one of the largest fossil fuel private equity firms in the world. Lucian, who never responded to my interview requests, has been a Yellowstone Club member for years, and also happens to be among the largest private landowners in the Crazy Mountains.
In 2012, Lucian purchased the Lazy K Bar Ranch at the foot of the Crazies. He also owns the infamous Switchback Ranch, one of the largest cattle ranching operations in the Northern Rockies at 160,000 acres.
But more on that later. For now, I just want you to get a sense of what it can look like when the ultra-wealthy take over a mountain. Rows of mega mansions line the slopes, some perched at the edge of the tree line, nearly 8,000 feet high. And a huge central lodge dominates the valley beneath. But there's also something you might not expect to find. Like this massive pool of green bubbling liquid located just outside the club's boundaries. This is a waste catchment pool built by the Yellowstone Club's owners to hold the sewage from all its luxury homeowners in the area. Located above the headwaters of the Gallatin River, which supplies water for tens of thousands downstream, waste pools like these have leaked in the past and have only added to the controversies surrounding the club.
Right now, their sewage effluent goes into, ultimately the Gallatin River. And the Gallatin River a lot of times flows green because of the nitrates that are in it.
The Yellowstone Club declined to be interviewed for this report, but a representative did respond to written questions, noting that numerous lawsuits against the club over Clean Water Act violations have been dismissed by federal judges, and that the club has spent millions to treat its wastewater to the highest standards the state of Montana assigns. Despite the controversies, the club and its members have proven to be a potent political force.
As the Yellowstone Club has grown, so has its political influence.
You see, the club's visitors aren't just celebrities, tech titans, and oil execs. These days, they also include top Trump administration officials. Vice President J.D. Vance reportedly spent Christmas at the club, and President Trump himself held a fundraiser there in 2024. But perhaps the most important member of Trump's team with ties to the Yellowstone Club is Doug Burgum, Trump's Secretary of Interior and the man in charge of most of the nation's public lands. Property records show Burgum owns a $22 million condo located in the club that he rented for an income of up to $1 million a year. He also has up to $250,000 invested in the club itself, according to financial disclosure forms. Now, why does it matter that Secretary Burgum is a member of the Yellowstone Club? Well, because the club has long been interested in public lands that he now oversees, which brings us back to the Crazies. You see, for years, the club wanted Forest Service property in Big Sky for an expert ski run. And to get those lands, they offered to help the Forest Service solve the access disputes happening in the Crazies by organizing a land exchange. During Trump's first term, the Forest Service took them up on the deal, and the club's consultants started pitching a land exchange to local stakeholders, often with a promise.
It was explicitly stated in that meeting with us that the Yellowstone Club had no interest in the Crazy Mountains.
They were in a very big hurry to get things done and kept assuring us that the Yellowstone Club had no interest in the Crazy Mountains. And it wasn't long after that that the Yellowstone Club's acquisition of the Crazy Mountain Ranch became public knowledge.
In 2021, the owners of the Yellowstone Club purchased an 18,000-acre private ranch abutting the Crazies' southern end, stoking fears among locals that the area would soon be host to luxury resorts like those found in Big Sky.
What's going to happen to all the families out here who have had these ranches for generations?
Just because you have a bunch of money doesn't mean you should be allowed to ruin everybody else's time.
Crazy Mountain Ranch, right there you go.
Brad Wilson took me to see the club's new ranch up close.
When I found out that the Yellowstone Club had purchased the Crazy Mountain Ranch here, I about fell over. It just shows the deception and the non-transparency of this whole thing.
The club is now converting the former Dude Ranch into what they describe as a private membership experience centered around a new 18-hole golf course.
How popular was golf in Montana when you were growing up?
Zero. They're talking hundreds of thousands of gallons of water a day that it takes to irrigate this. Wow.
By 2024, it was revealed that the ranch had been illegally drawing water to irrigate their new golf course.
They didn't have their permits to water the golf course, and they simply stole water.
Irrigation continued in the 2025 season, angering local ranchers.
Basically, they said, well, no matter what, we're still going to water our golf course.
There's a very famous saying in Montana that says, whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. And when you take water that you're not entitled to, that's a big deal here.
The club has since entered into an agreement with Montana regulators, and a representative says the Crazy Mountain Ranch expects to be a good neighbor for many years in the community. And while that remains to be seen, locals worry that the land exchange the club ultimately helped orchestrate leaves them primed to expand further. In January 2025, the Forest Service approved the swap of nearly 4,000 acres of public land for just over 6,000 acres of private land. The changes, once enacted, will significantly reduce the checkerboard pattern in the range by consolidating public lands in the center with a nearly complete ring of private land now surrounding them.
What it's resulting in is a ring of private ownership around a chunk of public land that has very limited access. The low-lying hills, the low-lying mountains, all of the sort of prime habitat, that all went into private ownership, and then the tops of the mountains all went into public ownership.
This is the kind of terrain that we're trading for, habitat-wise, resource-wise, and that's what we're inheriting up there. My whole comment would be, we'll give them that and we'll keep this beautiful land with timber and wildlife, and we'll give them the mountain goats, ice, and snow.
Critics like Brad argue the exchange only benefits large landowners in the area, some of whom, like David Lucian, run expensive guided hunting operations and now enjoy nearly exclusive access to the range and its valuable natural resources.
These billionaire ranchers, millionaire ranchers, we're going to come out of this like a bandit. We, the public, we're going to come out more shell rock. Forest Service and them are talking about this being a win-win for everybody. It's not.
But proponents see it differently.
I see the consolidation of the high country as kind of creating more wild country in the Crazies. The naysayers always call it rock and ice. I've hiked on a bunch. They're not rock and ice. I mean, yes, they're beautiful high country and they're vistas. They're also lands that has elk on it, and it has wolverine, and it has wilderness value.
But perhaps the most controversial aspect of the deal involved dramatically reshaping the trail network in the Crazies. You see, the final version abandoned public access claims to 2 contested trails that had appeared on Forest Service maps for more than 100 years.
That access is now completely obliterated and is no longer anywhere in the public trust.
In their place, the Forest Service has promised to build a new 22-mile trail primarily located on public lands and paid for by the Yellowstone Club.
And that will be the start of this 20-mile trail they're going to build here. Now, can you imagine elderly folks and younger folks trying to hike that? It's not hiker friendly at all. Definitely not hunter friendly. It's ridiculous.
The trail standard will meet all Forest Service trail standards.
Proponents argue the new trail system will reduce conflicts and strengthen public access to the range by creating a 40-mile loop that connects to the west side of the mountains.
You resolve these access disputes in a way that creates permanence and certainty.
But critics aren't swayed.
2 is larger than 1. And if I have 2 access points on the east side of the Crazies and I've now converted that to 1, you got to do some pretty crooked math to get to the idea that that's an improvement in public access. That doesn't even pass the most basic of sniff tests.
One thing is clear. The public saw the deal as highly controversial.
If you go look at the public comments on this, it is overwhelmingly against this land swap proposal.
People were opposed because they thought you were giving up rights on this trail, or they didn't trust the Yellowstone Club or something. Maybe this doesn't make sense to you, but we don't look at that as that's in opposition. We just look at that of right up until the very end, people are trying to tell you what they hope you can get more of.
When one unelected bureaucrat can relinquish public access to hundreds of thousands of acres of public land and we don't get a say in it, that's a crisis. The public spoke, the Forest Service ignored them.
This is a really simple issue. The public had some really good land and some really good access in the Crazy Mountains. Some really rich people decided they liked the Crazy Mountains a lot. And now the public doesn't have that access, and we no longer have those parcels. People should care about what's happening in the Crazies because it is very much a harbinger of what could come.
And that's because in recent years, we've already started to see private interests reshaping public lands across the country. From billionaires blocking public trails in Idaho.
Sets of bright orange gates, keeping Idahoans off a road they've always used to get to their public lands.
To proposed controversial land swaps or sales in Wyoming, Alaska, Florida, Michigan, Utah, Nevada, and Arizona, where one company hopes to convert a sacred indigenous site into a copper mine.
The Trump administration says it plans to push the complete transfer.
This isn't just a Montana problem. This is all our problem. It's happening in Michigan. It's happening in Nevada. They are disappearing fast.
America has always had this balance of people who seek to exploit her natural resources and those who seek to defend them. That's now being shifted because those people who are supposed to be defending our interests are actually actively facilitating the exploitation of these natural resources for the benefit of very, very few. You're taking from the bottom and you're giving to the top.
Despite the odds, for some, the fight will never end.
When you get beat down in the fight a lot, and you see the wealth above, the power above, it's disheartening. It is hard to stay optimistic, but I think I'm going to be like that piece of popcorn that's stuck in your teeth. That's going to be who we are. Make them take it from you. I'll leave it at that. Make them take it from you.